Okay. Under the first chapter, we were discussing about the plant diversity, and plant diversity is the first lesson of plant diversity is the first lesson of grade 7 class. And there are, I think you can remember the first lesson of grade 6. First lesson of grade 6, we were discussing about the wonderful world of animals. Basically, we have learned about plants, we learn about fungi, algae, and microorganisms, as well as we learn about the animals. So that is in grade 6. But in grade 7, the specific area is focusing. This specific area is focusing on plants. How plants are different from maybe from different climate zones. So if there are varieties, there are that is based on, so different features are there. Plant has a root system, shoot system, and so let's discuss again about these things. And actually based on the leaves, based on the fruits, based on the flowering or non-flowering, and based on the adaptation to the environment. So likewise, we can divide plants into different groups, and you can see a view of garden. So if you have visited botanical gardens in Peradini, there are a lot of varieties of plants. I recently visited a garden by Bay in Singapore, and so they claim that they have almost all the varieties from anywhere in the world. Actually, they are thinking, they are telling, so only varieties that they are not having is from the northern and southern pole. So there is Antarctica and the other area. So that is basically where the glaciers are there. So some species are there also. In those areas also there are plants, but the thing is, so what they claim is only those plants are not there, but other continents, subcontinents, they have all these varieties. And I saw that, yes, there are a lot. Actually, they have controlled the climate, and due to the climate control, almost all the varieties that we can see, and even these plants which are in water or aquatic plants, everything you can see there. Okay, so that is another thing, right? Here you can see the first thing is, so I said that morphological features. Morphological features means what you can see physically, right? What you can see physically. What are the features that you can see physically about the plant? That is called morphological features. Morphological features of a plant. What you can see from the outside, right? Those are morphological features, right? Then first is like we are going to discuss about the flowering plants. So what are these flowering plants? So is like, why not all the plants are not flowering? Why there are non-flowering plants? So how they spread? What is a flowering plant? So what is this? So do you know the difference between the flowering and non-flowering? If anyone knows, can you tell me what's the difference between the flowering, non-flowering plant? Yes, its name implies the difference, but so just to, yes, flowering, non-flowering, what is the difference? Flowering plant, non-flowering plant. Can you give an example for flowering plant and also give an example for non-flowering plants? Hello, I'm asking from you guys. Tisandi, can you hear me? Side?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what's the difference? Flowering, non-flowering? Yes?
Flowering plant. Pomegranate plant is a flowering plant.
Yes, I.
Pomegranate plant is a flowering plant.
Flowering plants are producing flowers, right? That's it. Okay. So basically, the plants which can produce flowers are called flowering plants. Non-flowering plants means the plants which cannot produce flowers. So basically, ferns-like plants, ferns-like plants. So it cannot produce flowers. So anything else? Can you give me some more example for non-flowering plants? Yes, non-flowering plants. Ferns you can take as non-flowering. So what else? Other than ferns, I think you have seen ferns, right? Ferns are, so basically they are in wet areas. So you can see ferns. Have you heard of mosses? Mosses. Ferns and mosses. So let me show an image. So maybe you are not really familiar with the names that I'm telling. So let me show that to you. Ferns and mosses. So maybe when you see images, you can identify. Ferns and mosses. What are these ferns? What are the mosses? Okay, here. So let me share the screen again. See this image. So these are examples. So can you see ferns and mosses, right? Basically, yeah. There are large ferns also, ferns and then mosses. So these are basically non-flowering. They are not producing flowers. We call them non-flowering. Even algae you can take, right? Okay, then what are the flowering plants? Any other plants, basically, which can produce flowers, you tell it a flowering plant. So example, coconut. You can say rose, fern, ether, gardenia, balsam. All these are flowering. Even you can say mango, banana, or jackfruit. So all are flowering. Sorry. Yes, Pute? Yes, strawberry. There are many. So there are many. A lot of plants are flowering. So only few varieties are non-flowering. Lot of plants are flowering plants. And okay, so here, so so out of these, you can see rose, ether, gardenia, balsam. These are basically flowering, but fern here is a not non-flowering one. And can you see here there are some more ones. So here, water lily is a flowering. Sal or Nagalingam is also a flowering, but moss is not a flowering one. Lotus flowering. Cycas is a flowering plant or non-flowering? Cycas. Cycas is a flowering or non-flowering?
Non-flowering.
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 Show flower. Yeah, then there's a flower. Long bean, curry leaves, carapincha or curry leaves. Sorry.
Non-flowering.
No, that is a flowering, right? I think you have. Haven't you seen there are small flowers in curry leaves? Curry leaf plant, there are small flowers. So I'll show you. Okay, then Beduru, and then you can say jasmine, cypress, coconut, salvinia, right? So these are, out of these you can see cycas. Cycas is type, you can consider that as a type of non-flowering here. Plants which do not bear flowers, cycas, because it's type of a fern you can consider as, and moss, ferns of course, and salvinia. Salvinia is basically a kind of plant which is normally there. In which kind of environment you can see salvinia? Salvinia in which kind of environment? Salvinia. Yes. What is the environment of salvinia? Yes. Come on. Salvinia, where you can see Salvinia. Sayaf, do you have a signal problem? So I saw that you are disconnected. Sayaf, can you hear me? Sayaf, can you hear me? Mava Henawada. Hello.
Yes.
Okay, do you have a signal issue? So you just disconnected.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Anyway, I'll record in this, but try to stay connected, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then moss, cypress, and then Rhinaria. So this is called Beduru, and that is Sinhala name. So this cypress and these are Salvinia. Salvinia is a water-based plant, right? So I asked that. So yeah, you can see Salvinia is in water. So these are basically not bearing flowers, but even curry leaves plant. So you might have not seen the flowers, but there are flowers, right? In curry leaves, you can just Google it. There are flowers. So we basically divide plants into two groups: flowering, non-flowering, based on whether they bear flowers or not, right? Whether they bear flowers or not. So that is the criteria how we divide plants into two groups. Right. Okay. Then we are going to learn about the root system and the shoot system of a flowering plants. Our major concern here is about the flowering plants, right? So even though we have divided that into two groups initially, our major concern here to consider about the flowering plants, only consider about the flowering plants. But there are non-flowering plants and we will be learning that later, but not now. Our major concern today is to learn about the flowering plant and parts of this flowering plant. Just give me a second. Just give me 1 minute today. I'll quickly come. Just give me 1 minute. Right. Then, so what are your answers? Flowering, non-flowering. Aloe vera, mushroom. Mushroom can be, mushroom is like by basically coming under algae, coming under the fungi. But okay, liverworts, conifers can be taken. Bamboo is what? Bamboo is a flowering or non-flowering? Yes, bamboo. Bamboo plant. I think you know about that. So yes.
Non-flowering.
Bamboo plants, I haven't you seen the flowers? Yes. So there are but the thing is like maybe because of the height, you might not be able to see, but it's a kind of a flowering plant, right? Bamboo. You have to take that as a flowering plant. Maybe you have not seen that. So let me show if you have not seen. So bamboo flowers. Wait. You should see this, otherwise like you will not remember. Bamboo flowers. And these are, so different type of bamboos and different type of flowers are there. And you can see here the most remarkable kind of bamboo flowering is known as gregarious gregarious flowering. This occurs when large population of the same bamboo species flowers simultaneously after being vegetative phase of the decade. So this is the phase of the flowering, but anyway, so you can see in the images, and it has flowers, right? But the thing is, it's not really looking like a flower. So because okay, then back to the right. Then the next exercise is what I have already given, that activity number 1. So let's identify the parts of a flowering plant. So what are the main components? Okay, here in number 3, so you see the root system. Right here in number 3, you see the root system. Root system of this plant is basically, so most of the root systems, not always, right? Not always, but most of the root systems are underground. Most, right? Not all. So I'll tell why not all, because some roots are, there are aerial roots in some plants. So root is not underground, right? Most of the plants it's underground, but not for all the plants. So anyway, root system is this. So it has tap root or the main root and lateral roots and root hair, right? Tap root, lateral root, root hair. So that is part of root system. Actually, what is the purpose of root system of a plant? What is the main purpose? Why there is a root system for a plant? Yes.
To absorb water from the soil.
To absorb water and minerals. Yes, water, not just the water. To absorb water and minerals from the soil. That is one thing. So any other usages other than absorbing water and minerals? Is there any other usage of the root system?
Fix the tree to the soil.
Yes, in order to stand on the soil, the root system is used, because to fix the plant to soil, then only. So because plants are not locomoting, no, plants are not moving from one location to another location, unlike, so animals are moving from one place to another place, which is called locomotion. But plants are basically fixed to one location, not moving from one place to another place. Only thing is, its root system is capable of absorbing mineral and water from the soil by spreading. Actually, when let's say when enough water is not there, root system can spread and grab more. It can spread wider, or it can spread into the deep of the soil and absorb that. So anyway, to fix the tree to the surface, the root system is used. And another thing, as you said, main thing is to absorb water and minerals from the soil. Right? So in case, sometimes there are plants with aerial roots. Aerial roots means the roots are in the air. Okay, let me show an example for these aerial roots.
So mangrove plants.
Mangrove. Okay, see this image. Right, some of the plants here, they are having their root system not actually, it is fixed to the soil. Some of the roots are fixed to the soil, but there are aerial roots too. Right? So what is the purpose of this having aerial roots? Yes, what do you think? It is not to fix it to the soil, no, the aerial roots. What is the idea? Why there are aerial roots? Okay, you can see many examples. Actually, here in this plant, aerial roots are used to actually use as a supportive tool for like standing. It's used for it's used as a supportive mechanism for standing. Right, that is aerial roots. Then, so there are some other purposes also. There are some other purposes also. Sometimes for the respiration, it uses. Okay, let's learn about these facts later. But remember that most of the time the root system is fixed to the soil. Okay, the next thing is the shoot system. Shoot, S-H-O-T-T. So mainly what you need to remember, in a plant, you have two systems. In a plant, there are two systems. The number one is root system. It is mostly below the surface level of the earth, and it is in the soil. And the second is the shoot system, which is basically above the soil. And shoot system may have it's having a different components. Mainly the stem, trunk or stem. And then, so sometimes there are branching, but sometimes there are no branches. But here in this, you can see there are branches. 8, I think, yes, 8 is branches here. 8, you can see branches. So basically from the main stem, there are substems of the branches divided. And not only the branches, so you can see under number 5, so these are called buds, or the lateral buds or auxiliary buds. So auxiliary buds or the lateral buds, so basically those are initial format of what? Initial format of why these buds are there. Yes, what's the use of this auxiliary buds or aerial lateral buds? Okay, think. Then, so most important thing is plants are having leaves. They are leaf system. The leaves are also, there are different variety of leaves, so symmetrical leaves, asymmetrical leaves. There are different type of leaves. And so leaves are basically serving the plant its basic needs for the respiration, for photosynthesis, producing, because that, you know, the plants are autotrophic, it's producing its own food. In order to make food, the chlorophyll is mainly stored in these leaves. So it absorbs the light and carbon dioxide and produce glucose, and also as a byproduct, it produces oxygen. And in the night, when light is not present, it does the respiration, absorbing the oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. So both will happen. And there are different ways of doing that, right? We will learn in future trades how this is happening and what are the mechanisms, how photosynthesis happens and how oxygen is absorbed, how carbon dioxide released. So we'll learn about that in future lessons. Okay, so leaves are very, very important. And number 7 is that there is a main, that is we call apical bud. The lateral buds or the auxiliary buds and apical buds. So these buds are really useful, right? So if you have practically worked with a plant, you know what's the usage of the bud, right? So buds are basically, sometimes buds are used for sexual reproduction, right? Buds can be used for sexual reproduction. So we learn about that. And then fruits, one of the main component. But some plants are not producing fruits, but some are producing. Fruit is a way of storing its nutrition and also the food inside the plant. And actually we as animals, we consume fruit, leaves, stem, these or sometimes even the root system of the plant. Sometimes the entire plant is consumable. Okay, the flowers. Before the fruits, flowers appear. Because flowering plants, the next stage is the fruit. And inside the fruit, you can see seeds also. That is for the sexual reproduction. Flowers, fruits are for the sexual reproduction. So plants can spread both ways, a sexual or sexual way. That means, so it has female, male components. And so mixing that components, it can make babies, the small plants, or the seed through the seeds, and so it can make small plants. So that is one way, that is called sexual reproduction. But asexual reproduction is basically, so it can be like a new plant can be obtained by using the stem or branch or even using buds, right? That is basically, or sometimes roots even. Okay, that is a sexual reproduction. Okay, so we learn about these things, and especially about the buds, we need to further study, and that is basically what a flowering plant. Okay, so here the example is basically to identify the components of the flowering plant and just find the components. So for easily we can use like a plant like tomato. Easily we can use plants to identify, but not all the things normally we will not be able to see everything together, but rarely we can see everything together, flowers, fruits, buds, everything together. It's rare occasion, but normally we can see at least we can see the root system and the stem, branches, buds, leaves, we can see. Okay, so right, so let's identify about the morphological differences of each of these components. So we are going to identify the differences of the root. So what are the different type of roots that plants get? So then we are going to identify what are the different type of stem systems and the branches system that plants get. So what are the different types of leaves that a plant gets? And then we are going to identify what are the different type of fruits that a plant will have. Okay, so let's do small activity to identify this. So this is a 10-minute activity, just small research again. So because you all are going to be scientists after learning science, so let's find the morphological differences first. Morphological or the physical differences, what you can see. Okay, so please write down this. So write down the heading. Heading is what is the heading? Heading is morphological feature, sorry, plant diversity. Under that, please write morphological features of a flowering plant. Under plant diversity, please write morphological features of a flowering plant. Under that, please write down morphological features of flowering plants related to the following, based on the following component or part. So you have to fill a table here. So find out the differences by analyzing the root system. So what are the different root systems that you can see? Then leaves. So what are the different leaves types we get? Stem. Fruit. What are the different type of fruits? How it is different from the fruit. Root system, leaves, stem, and fruit. So is there any other feature that you need to consider here? Okay, so no need, like this is like, let's make it so there are other features you need to consider, but no need, just fill the table by analyzing the morphological features related to the following criteria, following parts. So according to the root system, what are the different type of roots that you can find? So what are the different type of leaves that you find? What are the different type of stems and different type of fruits? Okay, so I'll give you 10 minutes. You can try it alone, then I'll explain to you. Right, root system. Based on the root systems, what are the primary division? So no need to divide this advanced way, just identify the main categories only. Based on the root system, that is in the book also.
Taproot, fiber root, lateral
Taproot
root,
and fiber root. So yes, anything else? Taproot and taproot. Sorry, fiber root. Yes.
Lateral roots.
Yeah, those are also there, but mainly based on the root, lateral roots, yes, aerial roots. Those there are different categories. So if you consider the root, and so then there are roots used for the storage purpose, right?
foliar roots.
Yes. There are different roots. Based on that, we can divide. So, but for your case, actually, like in your level, so it is okay if you just divide that as fibrous roots or fiber roots and taproot. That is enough. But there are many. So as you said, foliar one. So like, you know, the leaves, sometimes to the leaves, leaves are having roots like akapan. Then there are adventitious roots. Adventitious use roots means like the plants like so especially these go-to-cola like plants that's having that adventitious. But mainly the taproot and the fiber root system. Taproot, fiber root system is okay, or you can just divide as taproot and adventitious roots. In adventitious roots, you can just say fiber, foliar, and true adventitious. So that is another category. Anyway, so in your level, it is enough to know as taproot and fiber root. Here, see, this is fibrous, this is tap. So that is what given here. But the adventitious one is not given, and adventitious one, then after that, foliar one, true adventitious one. So these categories are not there because in your level, it is okay to identify this as a two root systems. Okay, that's why I just gave these two examples. But If you browse, if you search internet, there are many. And there are, here some roots are storing. Some roots are adapted to store food, right? You can see that as well. Okay, so that is some additional thing, right? Basically, it's fixing the plant and it's absorbing water, and also you rise from the new plant. This is a asexual reproduction. So we couldn't, I couldn't mention that in the previous one. So one is fixing the soil, absorb the water and minerals, then rise to the new plants. This is asexual reproduction, or this is called propagation, right? And another thing is basically storing food, right? Storing food. That is also a function. Okay, then here. So these are some other roots, right? Aerial roots, where the roots are in the air. Prop roots, banyan-like plants, it's in the prop roots coming from the branches. Still roots, right? So especially in the ocean or coastal area, you can see the plants with still roots. And here, climbing roots, beetle. So because that is aiding the beetle to climb. So beetle use some, it needs some assistance, no? It use some assistance, maybe some, like people are purposely making it, right? Artificially creating cracks and all, or when it's drawing, or it use some other plant to move up. It use some other plants to move up. So that is basically called climbing root. And respiratory root, I said that some roots are adapted for respiratory. These are some other categories. Okay. Right. These are the root system differences. And right here, so they have given all these things: storage root, respiratory root, roots with root nodules. So everything is given here. But basically, I'm happy if you have found these two categories. That is enough. And so I think with the time, we can just discuss this part and stop for today. The other parts also I need to ask from you, but just fill this table, right? About the stem, fruit, and leaf. About stem, fruit, and leaf, just fill this. Okay, so what are these different roots? Right? Prop roots is basically, I said that it's coming from the branches, not from the main stem. The pradhana khanda neveyi. Ekenne branches atuwali pallan, just to support the branches, right? These prop roots are coming. An example, banyan tree. Still roots, actually it's coming from the it's coming from the main stem. It's like this, right? Let me draw and show you. So okay, so if there is a plant like this and it has branches, if it has branches, if the roots are coming from the branches to support it, those are called prop roots. Right? Sometimes you might not be able to understand what's the real difference between this prop root and stilt root. Okay, this is called prop roots. And if there's a plant like this, it has branches similar to this one. Okay, branches are also there. Okay, but let's say the roots are coming from this. Sometimes you might have seen this in coastal areas. Only from the stem, not from the branches, but from the stem. But still these are aerial. Still these are Half away it's aerial, the other part is in the ground. So this is called stilt root. And aerial is completely into air. It's not touching the ground. It's completely to air. The reason is just to absorb water vapor. There's water gas, no water vapor from the atmosphere, and also for some are adapted to the photosynthesis, but they contain chlorophyll, the green color one. Climbing root is very clear. Paper beetle-like thing. It has a climbing root. It's for the support. It helps the plant to, because it's not having a powerful stem to stand alone, right? Not having that much of powerful stem. Therefore, what it does, it uses climbing roots to grab something and climb. Actually, so not just the pepper and beetle, there are some plants growing horizontally in walls. So they are actually, therefore, they are most of the thing. So they are doing this for decorative and gardening purpose. But these plants are growing in walls in a horizontal manner, sorry, vertical manner. So to do that, actually, we need climbing roots. Respiratory roots are basically the purpose of to absorb air in the atmosphere, oxygen in the atmosphere. That is the respiratory roots. Kadol, Kerala. This is also there in lagoon areas. Storage root is very clear. It's really clear because storage root, carrot, beetroot, manioc, and then sweet potato. Basically, they store food. So we use that as a food source. That's the root system. But so this can be confusing sometimes, right? Carrot, beetroot, manioc, and sweet potato is okay. So what about potato? Potato. Is it a storage root or something else? Potato, not sweet potato. So you know, right? Basically, storage of potato is what? Yes. Is it right? So let me show this. Here, please see this image. Here. So see the difference. In a sweet potato, it's root. That is why I said this can be confusing. In a sweet potato it's root, right? But here in the potato, it is stem, right? So understand the difference. In a sweet potato, it's root, but normal potato, it's stem. That is why I said it can be confusing. Remember, so carrot, beetroot, maniac, sweet potato, it is storage roots. But stem, then the potato is it's not root, it's stem. And root with root nodules. What is that? Mimosa, beans, long beans. Actually, so this inside this nodules, so a lot of bacteria live, and actually it is really useful to add nutrition to the soil. So therefore, these plants are kind of it's used to enrich the soil. And it's really good because so inside this nodules, root nodule is something like this. It's like a small. It's not looks like this potato and all, but the root nodule is kind of small fat area here. Sometimes you might think this as a small potato or something. No, it's a fat area in a root where it provide home to lot of bacteria. Actually, it's working as an ecosystem. It's working as an ecosystem. That is this root with nodules. Okay, that's it. So next day we'll discuss about the different type of stems and different type of leaves and different type of fruits. But no need to be hurry. Let's do one by one, right? Let's do one by one because this is a long chapter. Yes, it will take some time to finish, and let's do it leisurely. Okay, then good night. See you all next week.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Come, bye.